How can an Anthropocene perspective be integrated into historical research on an epoch such as the 20th century, in which the narrative to date has been dominated by experiences of violence and ideological conflicts?
The first one is that, in my understanding, the anthropocenic debate can, from a sociological perspective, be described as an element of social, let's call it social order or social organization and its development on a global level.
That there is a long debate and a long discussion about the crisis of democracy. So it's as old as, well, the first date here is 1996, but it started before, so it's not a secret that there is a discussion first in political theory and then in empirical research on democracy that there is a crisis of representative democracy.
So the planet cannot sustain a universalization of this model unless one assumes a radically techno-optimist position or denies climate change altogether.
New field of studies such as climate history to the historical science, but to contaminate previously closed approaches. And based on Zing's assumption that contamination is a form of collaboration, it is a transformation through encounter.
And the third solution, and that is the path of thinking where I am most stuck in the moment, is what do we do with the, you can call it the remnants, you can call it the currently existing liberal democracies. So what do we do with the fact that we live in systems that hold elections, that call themselves liberal representative democracies? How do we deal with the fact that we have just diagnosed that the premises of all this are just in ruins? So how do we go on from there?
It's about the expectations that modernity has produced. And these expectations historically have not been arbitrary. They have been produced for a time period and by a material support system. Even if geographically these expectations have been limited to certain populations of the world, but they have over a time period become embedded in the concepts of citizenship, developmental discourse, and the criteria by which the states are judged by citizens.
So the question that I would like to end upon is, if, well, liberal representative democracy is based on all the assumptions of liberal modernity, and if liberal modernity really is in a profound crisis, because we are in the Anthropocene and we have to face that many of the premises that we build all of our thinking upon don't work anymore, what does follow from that?
By earth sciences, and that might lead to the devastation of society or of the planet as a whole. So, like a little bit polemic. But there's a possibility that via earth sciences we would be able to somehow, of course, we prefer democracy. Changes in the organization of democracy might then, with the aid of social sciences, open up an alternative future. So I hope that